Hello, this is Addingg coming to you with a video on how to create a map for your Wurm Unlimited server. Today we are going to talk about editing your height map, going into the editor, dropping some dirt, touching up the map, and about the general appearance of your world. This is going to be a multi-video series where I go about different topics in each video, and in the end we craft a hopefully nice map that in my case will be used on my next server project. So yeah, hopefully this turns out well, and today's video is designated to creating the rough shape of your map and prepare it so you can move on later, placing down biomes and all that good stuff. All right, so let's start. I want to make a 2048 squared map. So for any kind of map, you first need a height map. So let me show you the tools I am using. So I am using Asgar's fantasy map generator. You can just type that name in. This one is gonna create you some nice maps. Also, here it says the canvas size. You can always set it to what it is. So that's already good. On some browsers it's not supported, so let's see if it's actually supported on my browser. So if I export it as PNG and take a look at that file, is it actually... No, you see, it's actually the resolution of that window. So generally I'll just put something like this that's smaller than my window here, and then just create new maps and see what I can work with here. Generally speaking, this tool is pretty good to create. Oh, this is actually a nice map, I'd say, to create some basic maps. But there's of course other tools like World Machine, which has a free version for you to use. I'll put link to everything down in the description. So World Machine is kind of like a tool. I should have it here. That has a bit of a learning curve, but it's like putting together puzzle tiles and connecting their inputs and outputs to create a map like this. So this is the standard map here that you can create with the tutorial. But yeah, if you don't want to learn a new tool, then World Machine's not quite good. But of course, you can also always create a height map with our all best friend modeling tool Blender, which also supports exporting height maps. So no matter where your height map is coming from, it needs to be square and it needs to be your server map size. So in my case, it's 2048 by 2048. Speaking of which, you have to also format it to be a 16-bit grayscale PNG. So for Gimp, you can actually set it. So you need to set it to grayscale and you need to set it to 16-bit. And then you export it as a PNG, which I already did. But let's see. And then you have your menu here, and don't set this to automatic. You can toy around a bit, but it should be 16-bit gray again. But again, you can leave it as auto, fiddle around with the settings a bit. you will see if it worked if you can import it to Wgenerator, which actually is a tool that we are using today. Sorry, not Wgenerator, Wgenerator. Let me open that. This is basically the plain standard Wurm map generator, which we all know and love. But today we're going to use the import heightmap feature, not generate one, because this tool tends to create a lot of sharp spikes oftentimes. So, you know, get your own heightmap in there. Again, you have to set the map size before importing. So for me, it's going to be 2048. And I'm just going to import this and load that heightmap. Looking good so far. Doesn't matter that it is a little bit like shoved downwards. We have to keep in mind that you have to have a world border that it has to be covered in water. So at least 64 tiles have to be covered in water, but that's easy to do. I can already look here, but I cannot see the marker because you have to drop dirt first. So once you got your heightmap in here and it looks like your heightmap, because if you export it wrong on Gimp, it can be like striped or has some artifacts in it. So just make sure that your heightmap looks good. You can start dropping dirt. All right, and yeah, you can notice a few things that we are going to go over. So the first thing is I have very steep edges here because in my map this is actually the coast. So in the Asgars tool, these are actually just different depths of ocean, and this gray area here is the coastline. So our water being at 500 is way too low for this map's initial design. But anyway, we can raise the water height later. And you see, okay, there's a little hole here. This needs to be plugged up. And you can see there's like this roughness here, which comes from the PNG compression, because I used a 900 by 900 file and then scaled it up. But we will solve this also later. I just show you where I am coming from, so you can see how to deal with all those things. Right. But looking around, this looks like a nice map for me, to me, but we will change it around a little later. This, for example, was supposed to be a river, but yeah, we'll probably plug that up or see what we can do about it. Anyway, it's a bit terracy, and you will also see if I maybe raise the water a little bit. Let's see here, that's 586. 586, update water. You can see here, because of the compression, this is lower than this part. And that happens all across the map. But it's a pretty easy fix, so I'll show you later. Let's check our border if that's fine. You see here, this is now showing 7,620, but you have to watch at the tile here. So that's 1,905, which is more than 50 tiles apart to the border, to the supposed border. And here we will look at that. That's 117. So that's also more than 50 tiles. Okay, that's looking good. Before we go back into Gimp and edit this map, also let's toy around a little bit. You can here set the max dirt height. So you see my mountains are not really pronounced that much. I mean, this ridge looks good, but this a little bit. And this has a height of 1531. So if we would like to have this little island, soon to be island, have a rock surface on the mountain, we need to put the dirt height to 1500, and then we just drop dirt. So you cannot, so it's not stacking dirt on top of each other. Each drop dirt action is a new drop dirt action. Right, but as you can see, 1500 actually is a little bit low, because most of my landmass now would be rock. So, well, let's see. Let's try around a little bit. Test drive this. So the first iteration of your map, when you import your height map, mostly is just getting around the tool, knowing what you want to do with the tool. My mountains already are not very pronounced. They are already a little bit roundish, but that's okay for me. Some people like to settle on mountains. So it's more like a plateau. That's coming from the map being a little bit blurred. Maybe we can also use with work with the less blurred version, but we'll see later. Okay. Let me try one more thing. Raise the dirt a little bit. See how that looks. Just to get a feeling here. Okay, that covers this ridge up almost entirely. This one also almost entirely. So I think 2500 or 2600, something like that, should be a nice area. Although you also saw there was this little valley there. So this is already like where you look at your map and yeah, take a look how it might look. Okay, so this point probably was higher up. Yep, was higher up in the mountains. So there's a nice little valley. So this mountain ridge probably has a valley anyway. 2730, 2875. Huh, that's a little bit weird. But you can see the area is depressed here. So yeah, let's take a look at water levels before going back to Gimp. So this is 1405. Let me set water to 1500 just to see. It's a little too high. But in the end, you decide what your coastline is going to look like. But I want this area to be, this island to be not underwater. Also, I would lose considerable amounts of landmass here, so I'm going to go 1400. Okay. Maybe a little bit lower. But the coastline looks good so far. It's a little bit steep, but this can also be edited in your map. So what you can do from the get-go, I guess, is use a little bit of erosion, which smooths out the edges a little bit. You can see it here on the left side of the map. It got rounded down a little bit, but for erosion you have to take care, because erosion, and also here's water actually, erosion is not undoable. So you have to start from the beginning if you mess up your erosion. Let me update the water to 1375 or so that river goes away. Yep. Okay, there's still a little bit of river here. All right. So you see, if I go here, this is 1373, so my coasts are a little bit steep at this point. But again, it's almost everything is fixable, either through image manipulation in Gimp or through this program here. But so far I'm pretty content. And after seeding the biomes, because I already know where I want to put what, this will look like a nice map. Okay, so we drove around here, and now let's talk about fixing some stuffs. I will probably later, in the later videos, work with the not so blurred version of this map, so I can have more pronounced mountains. But what I show you, you can apply to any map. So let's talk about these artifacts here. You saw me here lowering the water height to get rid of the rivers and all of that. This is happening because the map in itself is not very smooth. So let's take a look on this corner here, and in Gimp, scroll all the way in there. I don't know if you can see that on your screen, but there's like different shades of gray here. You see that? So it's a little wonky. And also, if you zoom in, like here, you can see it a little bit maybe. And there's gray bleeding into this gray because I was scaling it up. So this, where the border is, it's actually a bit darker than this part and this part, which then puts a dent into the map. But hey, you could use the hand tool to wipe and blur on the map here a little bit. But you know, there's also one simple solution. You can go over your map and then you use filters, blur, a Gaussian blur, and then you set it to whatever you like. I'll start with 0.5. I'll just keep everything auto, and then I hit OK. And at this point, this is blurred by 0.5. So if we export it now, I call that blurred. You maybe did not notice anything here changing, but it was only a very fine blur. Oh, and I also have this selection here. Maybe I'm gonna go back a little bit. Okay, it's unblurred, and again I select the whole thing and then show again, go down by 1, hit OK, and export to blurred. So this now was blurred one time by 0.5. So let's see how that looks in the world generator. So I'm gonna close this down and then open it back up, and I'm gonna import my blurred height map and drop some dirt. And you can see there are still artifacts, but hopefully it's noticeable in the actual video. It has been smoothed out a little bit. And you can see it here on this diagonal slopes a little bit. So I'm gonna erase the water again to, let's say, and then we check for any of these rivers. And you see, at least here on this spot, they have disappeared at least a little bit. Go up a little bit higher. Yeah, okay, but they're on the coast, they're still there. I mean, one could keep this. Would be a nice little like Netherlands area. So at almost water level. So I don't know if I would actually want to keep that. But you see here, it got a little bit better, maybe not noticeably. But main thing is still there is artifacts and general scrumpiness. So I'm gonna add another Gaussian blur to it with 0. With 0.5 blurriness. Oop. And again, export it to blurred because I still have the artifacts. So yeah, I still want to have it blurred. And again, open my world generator, import the heightmap, and take a look after dropping dirt. Okay, I hope you can see the roughness is still there, but you see it got a little bit more terraced here. So I'm gonna blur once more, then export it again. So now we are at 1.5 blur, so I could have put the standard 1.5 blur, I guess. Okay, still there, but getting weaker by the time. Let me just maybe do, oh, holy shit. 1. Do 1. Export again. So as you can see, it's a little bit toying around, but this is like the easiest way I found to like get rid of those little artifacts there. Aha, you see that? We are getting there. So they're becoming less and less pronounced. Technically, you could already use this. Though you see my mountains are becoming less and less pronounced logically because we are blurring the area. But this ridge is holding up fine. Now this could already be used. So if I go like with the water height, and also you can see through that blurring, you get a nice coastline already. So no after work needs to be done here. Okay, so technically this could be used, but this would probably kind of look wild. So, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna export this map as is and test drive it on a local server. How does that sound? I mean, we've got all the tools here. So we go to export and we're gonna save the map files. And then we're gonna open this up. And we are on 1715186. So we're at this folder and it actually created the map files here, but they are not the size I would expect them to be. They need to be 16,000 kilobytes. So maybe we have to do ORs. Generate the ORs. Save map files again. Ooh, that's weird. I'll update this map name to test. Maybe we have to place biomes, at least maybe place just one sand biome. Okay. And then we'll save again the map files. Aha, okay. So after placing at least one biome, it updates. Okay, and then we've got our map here. I'm just gonna head over to my Wurm server. And I'm just gonna create create a copy of creative, and then rename it to I don't know how many test map folders I have. Okay, it's only one. And then you just drop your map files in here. But well, that was the creative folder. Terribly sorry. Copy those. Paste. So, and it's a new server, so everything should work. And then I'll just go to test map here, start that server, and then try it out. So the terrain is generally looking a little bit rugged. I want to go here maybe, so 12643024. Is the server started or starting or crashing? Oh, yeah, that's right. The database is a little bit corrupt. One moment. So I rebuilt the database. Let's see. Aha. That's looking better. Okay. I'm gonna go there. Yada yada. Okay. So actually, or was it just GM for me? Yeah. I'm not able to fly around because I have to relog. So let me do that real quick. But so far I'm liking what I'm seeing, because I actually would have gone one more further with the blurring. Maybe I'll show you a blur too. But I just now noticed that this ruggedized landscape, while not looking too great on the world generator, actually is looking great here. Aha, okay. So let's fly around a little bit. Of course, we will have no trees and nothing on this map here. But as you can see, right from the landscape, it actually doesn't look too rugged and actually has a natural flow and degradation in here. So there's like little bumps and dents because it's not too regular. So that actually looks nice. So let's go to that position. What was it? 2064, 30. Or something. Oh, right. That's a position. We need 3, 1, 6, 7, 5, 6. Oopsie, scatterbrained. 3, 4, 5, 7, 5, 6. Oop. Okay then. Okay, so we're sitting here, right on this mountain ledge, I think. So the mountains are a little bit round. This is what I want to fix in Gimp as well. But so far with the bulletness, I think I like what I'm seeing. Can also check out the coast. Yeah, maybe through flying you can see these dark and light spots. These are the little dents and bumps, like this one right here. Huh, but my previous map was blurred quite a bit more, gotta say. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is that my coastlines are pretty steep. But what's important to me is that they are manageable. So nothing worse than a coastline that you cannot swim from. So you see here, we have a kind of a natural degradation here, going and then going steep into the ocean, which I like. And for me, the most important thing is that you can actually leave your ocean. So kind of swim out from it. Okay, actually, I cannot state it. I can overstate it. I am pretty pleased with how that turned out. That's the price. Okay, I mean, the world is empty, but the general shape. Also, you can see like here these continental well, curves going in. But you can also see now that this is rock here because it's a little bit too steep. So maybe we have to fix that by dropping a bit more dirt. So you can set the max slope. This is a slope of 3172. So maybe set the max dirt slope a little bit higher when dropping dirt. But at general, this looks good. I like it. Okay, so what this map is lacking is a little bit of protruding mountains, so we are going to touch this up a little bit in Gimp, throwing some dirt on it, some white paint on it, so it becomes a little bit more mountainy here on that ridge, and that's actually all I would change about this map. We will later also paint rivers, because I'd like not only one big landmass that the player could travel in per boat and that's it. So if you live up here in the mountains, you're shit out of luck. So I would like to draw in some rivers from some sides, divide it up the landmass a little bit more. This is going to be a desert down here. But yeah, you can also draw lakes, but I'll show you on the map tool. I don't want to overstretch this video. It's already at 35 minutes recording time. But yeah, so it's like always, starting out is kind of hard. All right, so I'm gonna take my magic wand here and select this area here and give it a little bit bigger. Well, that was too big. A little bit bigger value here. So this area Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, almost. Oh, fuck. I never know how to get this back in. God damn it. Well, we gotta... Well... okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's too big. Okay. Yeah, still too big. Go down by 1. Okay, so this probably... this is the best. Okay, so I'm gonna delete this. Holy moly. I'm just gonna flood fill this area with the color I'm going to pick. Sorry, I'm a Gimp noob here. Which one is the color picker? Do we actually have one? I mean, yes, we will have one, but so I'm gonna take this color and I'm gonna flood fill it with very high value, and boom, this hole is plugged. Oh, would you look at that? We also plugged the entire ocean. That is not good. So back to the magic wand. Aha, okay, so it actually... Maybe go by color then. But this also selects all those colors. Well, never mind. Don't have to do it that way. You can also always use the brush, I guess. Or a pencil. And then I give it a size that is manageable. Oh, well, maybe still a little bit too big. So just touching up that little area here. So blend it in, basically. So and I know there's this mountain here. So this blends in nicely. Take away, take away. And now you can see it starts like not to blend in here. So I'm gonna smudge that over and then say, okay, I want to kinda blur this out. Whoop. And now it's still there if you take a very hard look, but you can still see it. But the world hole is plugged up, and that is what is important to me. We can also like blur this up. Maybe this is already solvable by just blurring it the hell out of it, but yeah. I'm gonna use the pencil again and pick a surrounding color like this. Touch it up. Okay, that looks good. Now, of course, this area, so I just have a human eye, so this area will probably still be around here somewhere, but I'm just blurring it up. And so I fixed my world holes now. So I'm gonna save this map and export as blurred and touched. Just make a new file every time. And I want to show you something else as well. I'm gonna Gaussian blur it one more time by another 1.5 or so, or maybe 2.5, and export it to way blurred, because this is what I want to show you. Okay. Right, let's close down our world generator and import the two maps and see how they look and feel. Okay, so I'm gonna import way blurred first. And now this map is gonna be smooth like a baby's butt, I think. Yeah. Okay, still some artifacts, but you can see where it is going, right? So the terraces are from before actually slowly disappearing, and you still have a natural look and feel. Little artifacty over here. You see the mountains are way smooth now. And also the coastline, as you can see, has a little, so it will not lose its steepness here, but has a little bit, lost a little bit of its sharpness to it. But then again, we need to check here. This is height 1400, this is height 1464, 1700. Okay, so I want people to be able to mine on this island if they choose to settle there. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay, both the world holes are gone. And I can actually not, but maybe it was here. And the other one was somewhere here. Yeah, where that large areas. Okay. So my way blurred map is not blurred enough, so I do it again. Export it. Let me just say 4. Okay, now you probably also saw on the image here that is now way blurred. Now import it again. Just to drive my point home. And this is what I used earlier. You see there is still, if you zoom in, there are still variations here. And they still also will look quite natural. But if you zoom out, you can also already see that this map now is like, it's like smooth, like someone sucked it, or like licking on an ice cone or something like that. The mountains are way less pronounced now, but there's potential to pronounce them more again. But yeah, let me go back to max dirt height here. So as you can see, this mountain top now is more like a plateau. It's way less pronounced than on the other map. So I don't know if I can I open 2 instances? Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay. Blurred and touched. So here you can see it's still artifacty, I guess. So here you have a natural rigidness in your mountains. And here it's like buttery smooth. If you go here 2848, 2749, you still have the gradient. I mean, if you zoom in or maybe view the topo, you can see here. So each line is 100 dirt. And if we view the topo here, it's about the same, or pretty much the same. But you see here, this is bridged, this is bridged. So it lost some characteristics. Like this was together this not anymore. So also this steep, this is 400 tiles, and this is only, well, it's also 400 tiles, but you see it's like drawn out. So blurring means eroding your map, which is fine. This is actually my coastline here. But yeah, you have to kind of look at it, and maybe I can also export it again, and we can look at it again in game, so we get a feeling for what we actually want. And after that, I'm going to touch up the mountains a little bit more, and then that should be it for today. So yeah, just add a little bit sand. I'll keep the water as is, and then I'm gonna way blurred. And then we will see here, I'm gonna open another. Let's go back to where we were before. I think it was around these coordinates. This is now the way blurred map. Maybe could also fly around, but need to relook. Okay then. Generally speaking, now looking at this map, you can already see what it did. You see that? This is a straight curve up, which is buttery smooth. There are still some hills and valleys, but this is rolling hills town. See that here? This is almost perfectly spherical here, and I mean, you can't really notice it when you place down the forests and everything, but yeah. So today I learned, leave a bit of ruggedness in your Wurm world. It actually makes it look natural, even if it looked a little bit weird in the Wgenerator. But man, this is too much rolling of a hill for me here. Okay, so anyway, I mean, maybe look at this, and I'm just gonna, hopefully the database doesn't break, but I'm just gonna replace the map files again, crash the server. So yeah, apparently it is very important to not only look at your maps in the Wgenerator, but also look at your maps maybe in person, especially if you're new to doing this. This is my like 5th map that I'm doing, and it's the first time I'm looking into it. And as you can see, it is also almost a straight curve, but you can also see it here on the mountain ridge. This is perfect, like this little bump here, boop, boop, and this little bump here, this little bump, and this. So this was straight up a curve up to the mountain hill, but you see here now there is a little bit of actual ruggedizedness. So I will probably also go back to the previous map and maybe even take one with less blur again. I mean, this is fine, right? But again, less blur again, just to get rid of the little dinks that were causing the rivers to appear in my first map, because that was scaled up, and maybe I can get a little bit more natural. I mean, it is an instinct to want it to have a smooth map, right? But again, today I learned sometimes too smooth can be a thing. Okay, so last thing for today is touching up your map. So this is the way smooth, way blurred. So important again, blurred and touched. This is what I want to import. But we already know that blurred and touched. We already know that the mountains are a little bit mispronounced, right? And here we come in with the actually paintbrush, which we will give a white coloring here. So I'm going to take the top of my mountain, which is this color, and then just make it, so this is pure white, right? Make it a little bit more white. And then just place down the brush in the ocean to see. Okay, this is now hardness of 100. It says hardness 100 here. So if we give it a hardness of 44, you see here, that's getting more roundish here. Not that. See, there's like little ridge. You can also put a less pressure. So this is where you personally have to play around with it. So maybe hardness is basically the roll of. The pressure is right. So in the middle there is a lot of mountain. But this looks quite good. What is if I give it 0 hardness? Okay, doesn't do too much here. And then we have here distance between paintings, or between putting down the brush. Okay, and this looks good. And now we need to again, yep, that looks good. Maybe a little less pressure. Yep, that looks fine. You see that? Now we have one point there. Okay, and now I go where my mountains are and give them back a little bit more heft. Again, need to watch for the size, and then I go where my mountains are. Yep, this is totally fine, and just follow along a little bit. So a little basically, so drawing the tops back on. So this also will create a little valley then there. Okay, maybe also leave room for pathways there. Okay, and now this looks kind of like a river. But what I'm going to do is take this and then again use the blurring tool to blend that in. So here you can see it's this already nice. I'll keep this rich, but here just going to put a little area there. That was maybe a little bit too rich. Okay, like so. And again, then I'm gonna go get my little blur tool here. This is a standard Gimp blur tool, and it's not actually blurring it in very well. So maybe I should have used a less whitish color here. And then I'm gonna just go and blur this. Maybe give it a little bit more hardness now. Yeah. And blend those in. This is kind of like Bob Ross painting, I guess. Okay. Now you see, just so the features have to be distinct. And now it looks like they have been there. Maybe At least that's my personal illusion here. Blend them in. And the brighter they are, the higher it is. So you actually decide how bright you want to have it. But because it's the blurring tool mathematically combines the two grayscales around it, can't actually do too much wrong here. Okay. Touch that up. But don't want to be the richest to have to be too pronounced. Here, go a little bit in circles so it goes away. Maybe here, little touch up here. Okay, so what this did is make this mountain area a little bit more pronounced. Hopefully we can see that we are currently sitting somewhere here. I think it was. So maybe just to go back, I'm gonna put another mountain. Oh, it's a little bit big. Yeah, kind of redraw the peaks on that. Why not? So it's your world. You can do everything you want with it, and then you can kind of come back and erase it again, like a big etch a sketch. Oh, that's a bit too big for me. I like this. Yep. And you see, it's not really getting erased or so. It just gets combined with the world. But if you go over it again too much, then those areas will be very smooth, and we don't want smooth, as we learned. Okay, so I drew the mountaintops a little bit back on, and I'm gonna export that to blur touched and mountains. maybe done. Okay, so let's take a look at it in the world generator. Import a heightmap. Maybe done. So that's it. Here I can, okay, now at this zoomed out state you maybe can see it, but let's see what it does with it. Okay, now a little bit excited. Okay, as you can see now, my mountains here, I would need to go and touch that up a little bit, because if we look at topo here, oh yeah, that's steep. That's very steep. But you see the mountain hills came a little bit more pronounced, and through the blurring it also got a little bit more homogenized. See that here? That became more steep. That still is there, so but you can see like there's these bones here. So we added these bones for the land. This chicken claw here, so let's go and say max dirt height 2500. Okay, and now you can actually really see my paint strokes, and then you can basically look at that, and on the second window have Gimp open and maybe blend it in a little bit more. But actually I kind of like it, because that looks like lava flows, and you could have made it like with less hardness or something like that, or less brush size, so that it really becomes steep. But you can see here there's actually this valley here, So what happens if I put 3000 max dirt height? Oh, but I can bridge this gap, and then there is this mountain valley. I think I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna retouch this up, and then we're gonna take a look at it in Gimp. Maybe I should have left the world generator open, but hey. Okay, I see where I am here. So I'm gonna go back to the brush. And it was like min hardness. Yeah, min hardness and max pressure. Or not quite max pressure. And then I'm just gonna whoop, whoop, close this up. And then just go big hardness. And then go over it. Blend it in the hopes of generating a nice valley here. I mean, people can carve out the mountains if they want to. But you can see it alone from the grayscale here. This area is lower than they are surrounding it. And yeah, I can see it now here. There was a little sharp outline of white. Same as here. We'll just go over it a little bit. I like steep edges. Sometimes mountains sometimes mountains are allowed to be steep. But I don't want a 1000 slope just sitting around here. So I'm just gonna go around the edges, just go over it. And you can leave some areas unblurred, or maybe you can use the other feature. There's this finger to drag color into. So we can hear this. So you can have this on the mountains to create some roughness. It looks like okay, now this looks like a coffee from barista. But let me just try it. Oh, this is gonna be weird. Maybe this is a map feature. Okay. Here, draw this in. Just give it a little accents or something like that. Okay, I see I need to blur a little bit around here. Okay, that's enough. And maybe around here a little bit. Because we don't want to get rid of the ridges that we just made. We just want to work them into the map. Okay. Maybe done too, because I'm running out of map names or file names. Okay, back to the generator. Okay, let's see what Wurm does with that. Okay. Now this is wild, but it has potential. It has character. Okay, you can see here because this is your max diagonal setting slope. So this has a slope of 56. This is why it's making dirt in that height and has rock here. Chicken claw still there. Looks a little bit smooth, but it's surrounded by this rugged landscape. And also here you can see this is what I also drew out there, this little hook. So maybe if you are a little bit more artistic than me, you will be able to actually drop this down and draw this out and give it more character to your map. That was too high. Okay, I'm not gonna getting a valley here, but maybe I'll get a valley here. This 3091, shit. Aha, but I'm still getting valley here. Perfect. Perfect. So this is what I want, because now you can have people settling in the mountains there. Okay. This is cool. I'm gonna keep it like so, but I gotta look at this. Gotta look at this. And then we will see. So this is 294,700. Maybe finished. Oh, well, need ores, need a sand biome. Save the map files and then wait a little bit and test it out. So while that's exporting, we could also play around with the maximum diagonal slope. So what if I set this to 1? Should be all rock then. Yeah, a lot of rock, a lot of more rock, but this also adds character, I gotta say. But still, you see here, there's a little the green edge on top, but you could make this to snow, so maybe not too bad. Okay. Oh, I kind of like that more. Although, as you can see, now you're getting back these dimples. Now they are getting filled up. Okay, maybe let's go to 30. Okay. It closes those dimples up, I think. I mean, all I have to do to check is to raise water height. Okay, see here there's a little bit river coming in. So if I do 56. Yep, that's closed up then. Okay, so for my map, still generating valley here is fine. Okay, so what if I do 2950? I want to get a little bit more mountain out of this. Okay, 2900. Okay, still has valley, but has a bit more pronounced mountain ranges here. Okay. We also have this area, which is not supposed to be underwater. So what is the height here? Okay. So I'm gonna put 1375. So this comes up. So this still has its mountain. Drop dirt once more, so that turns green. Still have my coastal line here. Maybe add some sand. Okay. All right. So the water height is what? Okay, so this is 30 tiles above water. Okay. I kind of like it though. I can see there's a coastline, which is good. We could erode it. One step, yeah, okay. And we could give it a higher slope. Like, let's put 35. Yeah, okay, that gives it more dirt. Right. Okay, then go to 50. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna add some more sand. Generate the ores. Okay, and then I'm gonna export the map files. And hopefully those are the ones. So 17, 14. Let's take a look there. Okay, still generating. So I'm gonna wait until the map files are generated. And then I'll cut to testing it out, test driving the map. And I'm gonna use this map next time, where we will touch it up a little bit more. Although I kind of like this. Maybe don't need to touch it up, but next time we're gonna do painting rivers and yeah, adding more shape to the map, and also biomes. This will probably also be 1 hour video, but damn, okay. Oh. All right. It is nice, but as you can see, since it's not smoothed, Gimp also made some nice ridges that look like dino bones. I do like this part here though. So maybe I'll keep this, but just go over it with a blur brush. Because this is a nice little chaotic mountain area here. Okay, I like that. Also kind of looks natural. Right. Cool. So yeah. I think I'm gonna end it here. I'll work a little bit with what I've learned today on another height map, and this is then what I'm gonna use for the next video. So if you do play along at home, take your time, make a nice height map, try it out in game to see if it fits and if it does what you like. And yeah, if you got one and are ready for the next video, then we're gonna see each other next time, making some nice biomes and rivers, which is gonna be very extreme. Oh lord. Alright, thank you for watching, and if you liked this video, leave a like. If you have any questions or improvement or feedback, drop a comment, and yeah, see you in the next one. Bye bye.